The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. I would like to call the meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Chair Boschert.
Here.
Chair Boschert is present. Vice Chair McConnell.
Present.
Vice Chair McConnell is present. Commissioner Carpenter.
Excused.
Commissioner Carpenter is excused. Commissioner Calling.
Also excused.
Commissioner Calling is excused. Commissioner Dunn.
Here.
Commissioner Dunn is present. Commissioner Tomacek.
Excused.
Commissioner Tomacek is excused. Commissioner Mayo.
Present.
Commissioner Mayo is present. Commissioner Zhang.
Present.
Commissioner Zhang is present. Commissioner Torres.
Excused.
Commissioner Torres is excused. Roll call is complete.
Okay, so we have 5 commissioners tonight. That is a quorum, and we will be able to proceed. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for May 25th?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes from May the 25th.
Thank you. And a second?
All second.
Okay, can we get a vote, please?
Chairperson Boschert.
Aye.
Chairperson Boschert is in favor. Vice Chair McConnell.
Aye.
Vice Chair McConnell is in favor. Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn is in favor. Commissioner Mayo.
Yes.
Commissioner Mayo is in favor. Commissioner Zhang.
Yes.
Commissioner Zhang is in favor. Vote is complete.
And the minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, comments were accepted electronically and via voicemail and were delivered to the Planning Commission. Those who wish to speak live have signed up in advance per the online guidelines and will be allowed to speak during the public testimony. Signed up in advance per the online guidelines and will be... There is only one item on this evening's agenda, and that is a public hearing and action on the preliminary development plan for Applewood Point Senior Living at Walnut Grove. I believe Amy Johnson is the lead on this. Please go ahead and make your presentation.
Thank you, Chair Boschert. One moment while I get my screen oriented. Okay, good evening. I am Amy Johnson, Senior Planner at the City of Westminster. I will begin the presentation tonight. A number of staff members are also here, including John McConnell, Principal Planner, Heath Klein, Transportation Engineer, Michael Wright, Principal Engineer, Nathan Ank, Senior Engineer, and Nicole Ankeny, Senior Landscape Architect. They will be available to help answer any questions or clarify comments in the hearing. I will present the staff analysis of the amendment to the Preliminary Development Plan, or PDP, for Applewood Point Senior Living at Walnut Grove, and the request to change the use for the subject property. Approval of this PDP amendment would allow an official development plan, or ODP, to be reviewed for the construction of an independent senior living development. The subject property is located at the southwest corner of 108th Avenue and Wadsworth Parkway. Walnut Grove duplexes are to the west. A vacant portion of Ball Corporation campus is to the north. Vacant property and the Lao Buddhist Temple are to the east, and city open space is to the south. The staff agenda memo and its associated attachments have been properly posted on the city's website. Tonight's public hearing has been noticed as required. Public notices were mailed, posted on the subject property, and published in the Westminster window. These items are hereby entered into the public record at this time. Section 11.514 of the Westminster Municipal Code contains 10 criteria that form the basis of consideration for approval of PDP amendments. Staff finds that the PDP amendment generally meets these criteria. First, as background, the subject property is currently zoned PUD, or planned unit development. The comprehensive plan designates the property as residential R8. The PDP of record designates the property for retail commercial use, and the applicant is requesting to change that to a senior residential land use, which would comply with the residential R8 comprehensive plan designation. The first 4 criteria relate to whether the PDP conforms with applicable plans, codes, follows appropriate planning principles, identifies any exceptions, and is compatible within the area. Beyond compliance with the comprehensive plan, compliance with the architectural and site requirements listed in the senior housing design standards will be required for any official development plan, or ODP, submitted for the development on the property at a later time. The proposed circulation patterns, points of access, overall grading, and allowed uses are shown and regulated by the proposed PDP amendments before you tonight, and while preliminary, generally meet these standards. If the applicant requests exceptions to the design standards or other code requirements on the official development plan, or ODP, those must be stated on a PDP amendment at that time. The site abuts city open space and single-family attached uses and will serve as a good transitional use between them and the arterial streets. Criteria 5 through 7 ensure that the project does not adversely affect current nor future development nor residents in any way. Staff finds that the PDP amendment generally meets these criteria. The senior housing design standards establish that attached and condominium-style senior residential facilities equal to or less than 18 dwelling units per acre should be reviewed under these standards, which does apply to the contemplated development of 8 dwelling units per acre. Excuse me. The development is improving the designed major drainage way through the property, providing a defined conveyance path from the upstream runoff, as well as addressing on-site water quality and detention per the City of Westminster storm drainage design and technical criteria, as well as Mile High Flood District criteria manuals. The development is improving 108th Avenue by providing a future second eastbound left turn lane, a westbound left turn lane into the site, and extending the bicycle lane in accordance with the city's ultimate cross-section for the roadway. The development will construct a sidewalk along the south side of 108th Avenue and the west side of Wadsworth Parkway along the property frontage as well. In addition, the development will provide pedestrian trails or sidewalks connecting the Walnut Creek Trail System and the RTD bus stop for all residents. The only vehicular access point to the site will be from 108th Avenue, minimizing impacts on Wadsworth Parkway. The final criteria ensure that the PDP identifies any land dedications that may be needed. Staff finds that the PDP amendment generally meets these criteria. As mentioned on the previous slide, The development is providing left turn and bike lanes in right-of-way on 108th Avenue. The PDP amendment also identifies the southeasternmost corner of the property for public land dedication. The applicant is proposing 85 units of senior housing, which means a projected population of 127.5 persons. The PLD, or public land dedication requirement, is 1.53 acres. The city is requiring physical land dedication for 0.638 acres, and the remainder will be paid with cash in lieu for 0.892 acres. The fair market value of the land will be determined with an official development plan, or ODP, for the purposes of the amount to be paid. As a result of staff's thorough analysis of the PDP amendment criteria set forth in section 11.514 of the Westminster Municipal Code, staff recommends holding a public hearing to review the proposed PDP amendment, and that the Planning Commission recommends approval to the City Council. Staff believes that the proposed PDP amendment meets three goals of the city's strategic plan. It supports the goal of creating a vibrant, inclusive, and engaged community, exhibits a beautiful, desirable, safe, and environmentally responsible city, and promotes ease of mobility. And now the applicant has a presentation to share with you.
Go. Can you hear me okay, Amy?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this evening. With me this evening are a couple of gentlemen, consultants, and others from United Properties. I have Alex Hall, who's a Senior Vice President with United Properties, Curtis Rowe, our traffic engineer, Nathan Rosemans, our architect, Ryan Littleton, who's our civil engineer, and Tom Klein, who's our landscape architect. My name is Eric Checkel, and I work for and represent United Properties for this project. Our address is 1331 17th Street, Suite 604, here in Denver, Colorado, 80202. United Properties, we've had an office here in Denver for a little over 15 years. We are a developer, owner, operator of all different types of development, retail, commercial, senior living, office, and industrial. So we do pretty much all of it. Next slide, please. So this is our Applewood Point logo, which is the development platform that I'm here to discuss this evening. This is a senior living product we call Applewood Point. It's a product that's been in existence for several years in Minnesota. We've developed 16 of these facilities in Minnesota, all different shapes and sizes and heights, and different numbers of units. It's been very successful there, so we decided to bring this platform here to Colorado. And this will be the first Applewood Point, hopefully, outside of the state of Minnesota. Minnesota is where our headquarters is located, and where the bulk of our employees and staff are located. So this here that you're looking at is our color site plan. We call this the Bent H. That's the building. It's a 3-story building that is located about 80 feet away from the 108th Avenue right-of-way, as well as about 80 feet away from the Wadsworth Parkway right-of-way. There's a full movement access up on the north there for access off of 108th Avenue. The northeast corner there where you see that turnaround, and there's a covered entry there as well. We've oriented the front of the building towards the intersection of Wadsworth and 108th Avenue as requested by staff. When you enter into the building, the opposite side, that is the southwest side of the building. There's a large patio and balcony there, an activity area, outdoor grills, fire pit, as well as balconies, all with great views of the mountains. Some of the infrastructure improvements we are proposing to build is the drainage way along the western property line there that Amy mentioned. And the beauty of the location of that is that it gives us about 170-foot separation from our neighbors to the west. So that's very helpful to have good distance from our western neighbors, the Village at Walnut Grove duplexes. We are dedicating 17 feet of right-of-way for 108th Avenue for the improvements that Amy had mentioned. We'll also be paying the Northwest Water Main Extension recovery fees for both Wadsworth and 108th Avenue, as well as we'll be tying into that reclaimed water system that the City of Westminster built in 108th Avenue for our irrigation. So we will not be using potable water. Talk a little bit about the facility itself. What this is, it's a resident-owned, active adult senior living community. So this Applewood Point, being at that southwest corner of 108th Avenue, is surrounded by numerous residents that are perfect candidates for this type of development, which is seniors that must be 62 and older to live there. These Applewood Points, our history has shown that the average age is about 72 years old. And they typically attract active seniors that enjoy the outdoors, which, as we know, is prevalent here in this area. A lot of trails, the nearby rec center, your golf course is less than half a mile away, the mountain, Stanley Lake, and all the other great amenities in this beautiful community. Also, site is very close to shopping, grocery stores, restaurants, transportation, and many other amenities. So we believe this is a perfect location for the seniors to live and play. Still taking a look at the site plan here, since we're talking about activity, one thing that we're really proud of is the amount of trails and connectivity that we've provided. On this plan, we have about 3/4 of a mile of a trail system just on the site shown here in the white color there. That's all 6 and 8 foot wide sidewalks and trails within the development. Also, adjacent to the property, as Amy had mentioned, we're putting in sidewalks in both 108th Avenue and Wadsworth. That's another 1,100 feet of sidewalks. So we're very close to a mile of new trails and sidewalks that'll go in just on this property and adjacent. We're also proposing to add Crusher Fine Trail off-site south of us so that we can connect into the Walnut Creek trail system. And then you can see at the bottom, the southwest corner there, the bottom left corner there, we're proposing to put in a pedestrian bridge so that so there's good connectivity across that drainage way that we need to build, so residents can get down to the trail system. Next slide, please, Amy. So this is an example of the finishes within the homes. There's 85 units, we call them homes, within the facility. It's 127,000 square feet of living space, made up of 20 different floor plans. So these homes range in size from 1,200 to 1,900 square feet, and they all include 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, a laundry room, full kitchen, a balcony if you're on the 2nd or 3rd floor, or a patio if you're on the main floor. Most homes also include a study or a sunroom. So it's everything you need in the typical home. Next slide, please. So it's everything you need plus everything you'd like to have in your home. So this is the first floor plan. The colors are the units on that first floor, and then gray shown in gray are the common areas. So this is just the first floor. There's also a second floor that's very similar to this with additional common areas. And these common areas includes a large foyer with a lobby, a great room, a game room, a library, a fitness room, a conference room. There's an art studio, as well as locked storage, one for each home within the facility. Next slide, please. These are some of the pictures. These are some pictures from one of our Minnesota communities that shows some of the common areas. So really nicely finished, high end. It's a nice high end facility. Like I said, with a lot of common areas and useful areas for all the residents. So in addition to the amenities on the first and second floor, we also have an underground garage. And in that garage, there will be 85 plus heated parking stalls. And then down here, there also have places for storage, spray car wash, vacuum for your vehicle, hobby shop, pet wash area, garden supply storage, bike maintenance shop. There'll be electric car charging stations, and other amenities down here. Also, this is where all the trash will end up. So everything gets chuted down into the garage. So that's where all the trash will be stored and then picked up once a week, just like at a regular single family detached home. Next slide, please. So going back to this slide again, I just thought I'd put this up on the screen where we talk about what type of people will be living here. I've already touched on that a little bit, but this is not a rental community. There's a covenant stating that all the units need to be owner occupied. And so the beauty of that for both our neighbors as well as for the city is that the residents are invested in the long-term look, care, feel, and the value of their home and the building itself and the grounds. So we expect that there's going to be several seniors that live in the Westminster community that are going to love this concept and that look forward to a building of this nature just for the feel and the amenities that it offers. One of the key things about this facility is that it's maintenance free for the residents. So there will be a staff of 3 people that are responsible for maintaining the facility. There's a cleaning person, there's a maintenance individual, and then there's a housing manager who would hire any vendors that we need for any building improvements or any exterior mowing or anything that's needed either inside or outside of the facility. So it's only 3 employees, but those are full-time, 40-hour-a-week employees that will be employed by the facility. Next slide, please. So I just real quick with this one, I just wanted to throw this on here to show. Amy had talked about the open space dedication. That's at the southeast corner there, shown in the hatch. And then also I wanted to show on the west side of the property, on the left-hand side of the property, we're also providing a trail connection to the village at Walnut Grove, our neighbors to the west. So that'll be their second connection down to the Walnut Creek regional trail system. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to end my presentation with showing two perspectives, renderings that we've prepared for this development. The first one is the front of the building facing northeast that shows that turnaround as well as the covered entry for drop off and pickup. And then next slide, please. And then this is the back side. So this is the reverse of the front. And this really, we think this is just going to be a wonderful area with the balconies and the patio, very active, fire pit, outdoor kitchen area, and really shows a great area for where these residents will be spending a lot of their time, we expect. So that's all I have. Thank you for your time. We're obviously very excited about this opportunity to be able to build this project in Westminster. We currently already have 58 reservations. We've been hosting some information meetings for the last couple months, and we've already seen great turnout. And we have 58 reservations in hand for seniors that are real anxious to see this development take place. So I'll be here to answer any questions, as well as the gentleman that I mentioned earlier. If you have any specific questions for me or for them, please just let us know.
Thank you for the presentation. And I want at this time to ask any commissioners if they have any questions for staff or the applicant. Commissioner Zhang.
So this is a question for Eric's team and staff for the intersection on 108th and Wadsworth. How will that impact traffic flow on Wadsworth, and then for the residential neighborhoods who are already there?
Yes, I would like to ask Heath Klein to address that, please. Our traffic engineer.
So thank you, Commissioner. The traffic impact due to this development will be really minimal. The trip generation that is generated from this site doesn't cause any real problems to this. And as we said, in fact, this project is going to help with the mobility and the movement of traffic by adding the dual lefts for eastbound onto northbound Wadsworth Parkway. And we're also going to provide a right turn lane onto southbound Wadsworth Parkway. And what that does is it will allow us to have two future eastbound lanes to cross Wadsworth and continue east on Wadsworth. So really, they have done a good job, and the traffic volumes on both of those roadways the volumes are high enough that this does not add significant volume to it.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? I actually have a question for staff. If I missed this, I apologize, Amy. Did you mention if the sidewalk along Wadsworth will be connected down to 104th Avenue?
I did not mention that. I know that comment and question was in the materials attached to the memo this evening, and we had answered it at the time. That was around the time of the neighborhood meeting. The sidewalk will be built only adjacent to this property because that's all we can technically require of the applicant at this time. So where you see the property line ending down here, that will be the extent.
Okay. I noticed that from there to 104th, or at least until the next development, is city-owned property. Does the city have any plans for extending that sidewalk?
Perhaps Nicole Ankeny can give us a little more insight into that issue.
Hi, everyone. This is Nicole Ankeny, and I'm a senior landscape architect with the Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Department. At this time, it is something that we're going to be looking into, but it's an extensive amount of sidewalk, and the biggest barrier is actually where it crosses Walnut Creek. The bridge on Wadsworth Parkway does not currently allow for a sidewalk. So that's something that we will be working with our transportation and mobility group. You just heard from Heath Klein, our transportation engineer, but that is something that we will try to address collaboratively through open space and transportation and mobility. We also believe that is an important connection. However, that is going to be fairly costly as we figure out the best route to make that happen so that we can meet all accessibility requirements. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have a time frame? Is it 10 years probably or less?
We might have lost her. Nicole, are you still there? You are.
Yes, I'm still here. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay on my end. I apologize. At this current time, we do not have a timeline for that construction to occur. We need to partner with community development, transportation, engineering to figure out the best route for that before we can give any kind of a timeline. Once we understand the cost ramifications, we can work that into our capital improvements budget. And then at that point in time, we would have a much better idea as to the timing of that. We do hope to have that done within the next 10 years. That is a significant gap. Some of your concerns that we've heard and that we frequently hear from residents of Westminster is the gaps in the Walnut Creek Trail system. And so those are some that we are going to be addressing in the next several years as well. A lot of the gaps associated with the Walnut Creek Trail system are very costly and complicated because they often involve a collaborative effort with the railroad, with transportation, with stormwater management, as well as parks and open space. So, but those are things that we'll be looking at.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing no further questions, at this time I'd like to open the public testimony. Much of the testimony has been received in the form of emails and voicemails. And Jennifer, do we want to play some voicemails at this time?
Boschert, we don't have any voicemails to be played. We did have a speaker request to speak during the live meeting, but that person has not joined us. I've reached out and I have not heard back from the speaker. I have offered for them to leave a voicemail while the meeting is going and in the public hearing portion, and I have not received a voicemail either. So at this time, I don't have any public testimony to be played or heard into the meeting.
Okay, so what we have is public testimony that was submitted in writing previous to the meeting, of which you all have copies.
That is correct.
Great, thank you. Well, with that in mind, I will go ahead and close the public testimony at this time and ask commissioners if they have any questions or if they would like to make a motion on this application. Don't be bashful. Commissioner Mayo.
I recommend approval to the City Council of the proposed amendment to the Westminster Municipal Code, Title 11. Whoops. I'm sitting here. I flipped my pages. I'll find the verbiage, but I'm recommend City Council the approval of preliminary development plan amendment for Applewood Point Senior Living at Walnut Grove. That'll teach me to turn the page.
Great. Thank you. Do we have a second? Commissioner McConnell.
I'll second the motion.
Which one?
The one that we all like. Okay. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing no discussion, I will call the question. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Chair Boschert.
I'm in favor.
Chair Boschert is in favor. Vice Chair McConnell.
Yes.
Vice Chair McConnell is in favor. Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn is in favor. Commissioner Mayo.
Yes.
Commissioner Mayo is in favor. Commissioner Zhang.
Yes.
Commissioner Zhang is in favor. Vote is complete.
Very good. It passes unanimously. At this time, I would ask if there's any old business or miscellaneous business. Mr. Shakal, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Looks like there's no old business or miscellaneous business, so I will close the meeting. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nick.
Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Amy.